my first reaction is, do I really sound like that?
It's awful.
Oh,
Not you.
Does everybody hate the way they sound?
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
I think even Morgan Freeman, if he listens to his voice, even he'd be like, I don't think I sound like that.
Don't like it.
You can't. It's so funny because I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I was in a band since 2010, and no matter how many times, like you just said, Morgan Freeman, you just can't shake it. It's like you hear it and you're just like, ugh. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Quick Diz Takes podcast, episode number 54. I am your host, Tim LeBeau. Joining me this week, as usual, Sarah Castano.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Sarah Patterson.
Hi.
Johnny Castano.
Hello.
And Stephen Lanzi.
Hello.
Please help us out, like and subscribe to the podcast if you get a chance. Tell your friends, all that good stuff. Check out more great content on the Quick Diz Takes YouTube page as well. Also, you can hit me up on Quick Diz Take or at Quick Diz Take, I should say, on Twitter. If you have any comments, questions, or anything like that. Today, we are continuing on our attractions. Stephen was kind enough to provide us with this week's topic, which I thought was interesting as I went over it in my mind this week. Because what we're going to do is it's going to be Alien Encounter and or Stitch. Stitch's Great Escape, I guess, or both really. Kind of talk about which one we like better and then what we like, hate, and all that good stuff about whatever one we pick. So before I start, does anyone here like Stitch better than Alien Encounter? All right, I kind of had a feeling that was going to be the case. So, Sarah Castano, why was Alien Encounter better than Stitch?
For one thing, it was an original idea. It was probably the only scary, like intentionally scary ride that Disney had or experience. It's not really a ride. I think it was very different. I think just the whole concept of, we're here to show you the latest and greatest of our technology, and we can we can transport, through time and space, and we have these creatures that people have never seen before, and we can, we'll show you in this demonstration. Like it had the screens in the little walkway in the queue line before you got into the pre-show. So it was kind of like, as you were waiting in line for this, you kind of got some background, and it was kind of entertaining too while you were waiting. And then you went to the pre-show, we'll give you a little more information, a little more entertaining before you got into like that round theater. As much as I love Stitch, I didn't care for it at all. I mean, the animatronic itself that they made of Stitch was really cool. It really did look like he was kind of boop-a-doop-a-doo, kind of bouncing around inside the tube. From what I remember, then I had to go back and watch a couple of like the ride-through videos. They kept a lot of things from Alien Encounter when they switched it to Stitch's Great Escape, which I couldn't really decide if it was like a little nod to Alien Encounter, like those like little, not Easter eggs, but just like a little like homage to it, or if it was just like really cheap retheming. Like they kept, the main guard, they just kind of beefed him up a little bit and changed his name. They kept one of the original aliens. They just switched the side that he originally appeared on and changed his name. The premise was kind of the same, but it really bothered me. If you've ever seen Lilo and Stitch, Stitch is not aggressive or dangerous or unsafe. Like he's mischievous, but okay. So it really didn't fit with what the original intention of the ride was, which to be that, the lights are out and you don't know where he is, and then you feel this thing pushing on you and you can feel it breathing and you don't know what's happening and there's a dangerous creature on the loose, and then it's Stitch who's this like little and just making mischief, and it didn't really flow. It didn't really jive with who Stitch was as a character and the backstory that they set him up to be. I really liked Alien Encounter so much better. You kind of get like a solid like 4 or 5 minutes in total darkness where you don't know what's going on with this dangerous alien, it wasn't too long that it became uncomfortable or old, but it was just enough to like really make you start to panic before things kind of panned out for it. But I think it was just a better ride. I think it wasn't family friendly. I get why they took it out, but I felt like the story of it fit better, and it fit the theming of Tomorrowland better than Lilo and Stitch did.
Can you make that noise that Stitch makes one more time?
Maybe later.
Okay, Sarah Patterson, give us a perspective on someone who was not able to experience Alien Encounter, and did you at least like Stitch?
So I didn't really care for Stitch. I do love him. There was some things that I liked in the ride, like the animatronic of him was really cute and everything. But there's like some things that didn't really make sense, like how he was wearing that like jumpsuit. I'm pretty sure like in any of the movies or the TV shows, Stitch never wears clothes. Even when he like first came out of the pod at first, I don't think he did. So that was kind of weird. And then that like robot thing, I think it was like the sergeant, that's what they called him. I think it would have been better if it was it Pleakley? Like you hear his voice.
Agent Pleakley, the skinny guy?
Yeah, it's with the one eye.
Yeah.
You hear his voice, but you never see him. So I think it would have been better if it was like him trying to like do everything. But I didn't really care for Stitch that much. I do love Stitch, but it just didn't fit there, like Sarah said. And then Alien Encounter, I never got to ride it, but watching videos, it did seem really cool. It's something that Disney never had before, like the scary. I love being scared. I know like a couple of like articles said that it was like heart-pounding ride. So I think that's really cool. That it's something for like the more older crowd than like just the kids, I guess. So it attracts a different crowd of people.
I read a couple times that Alien, the actual movie Alien, was originally the idea of being the IP in there, and that kind of cracks me up. I mean, I know we did get that in the Great Movie Ride. Well, we already had that in the Great Movie Ride, but the idea of like what they did with Alien Encounter tied into Alien would have been kind of interesting to see as someone that loves the Alien movies.
That would have been terrifying.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah. If they had an animatronic like laying down maybe in the middle with it actually coming out of his stomach or something, that would have been kind of sick. But anyway, and plus like
they can do it now, right? They own Alien.
They could. And you've seen the animatronic they had at in the Great Movie Ride. Like they made that xenomorph look pretty cool. But anyway, yeah. So I'm with you guys. I think Alien Encounter is so much better. That like I like the topic that Steven picked because those are two attractions that definitely need to be talked about. But it's kind of it's at the same time for me it's a no-brainer in the sense of which one was better. And as far as a retheme goes, we didn't even talk about that. But if I had to retheme it, I'm gonna take the easy road here and say that I don't really care for this. But at the same time, it's the way it's gonna go in my mind. So why even bother? Like they're gonna do I think the Wreck-It Ralph's gonna go there, and I kind of like not. I know it's not gonna fit right and all that good stuff, but I just can't think of anything else. I mean, I guess you could maybe slap Johnny's one idea you could do is slap Johnny's idea of getting a Walt Disney animatronic into the parks and like have him like, cryogenically frozen in the middle of Alien Attack and appear or something like that. Even though I know it's not true that he was, but yeah. Other than that, I'm kind of stumped on the retheme. But yeah. So Johnny?
Yeah, I like the fact that they killed a person inside of it too. Like you never see that in Disney. Like there was that person,
Definitely a very important element to that ride.
There was like a little person up on the catwalk, and then his blood dripped on you after he was killed. So it was kind of like, I don't know, it's just something way out of the box for like a Disney thing. But it was like nice to have a ride other than like, I don't even know, like something to be scared of almost. I mean, little kid might be scared of Haunted Mansion or something, but it was nice for like a grown-up or more of an adult person to, instead of being that happy, fun Disney time, time you have, you actually have you might get a little freaked out, which is it's just something. It was something totally different, and yeah, I think the Stitch thing was just, is just lazy, just a way to extend something because it was. I don't know. You're right. You go on it once and it had no repeatability at all.
Yeah. And Sarah didn't like it. If Sarah doesn't like it and she loves Lilo and Stitch, I mean, what does that tell you?
But as far as like a retheme, I think like not to try to get away from using IP. I think this is like an opportunity for them. Could be an opportunity for them to dive into like the sea universe, because they have all the explorers and adventurers is all out in the ocean digging up things. This is their opportunity. They could do a sea thing, like a space thing, an explorer that went to space, to try to tie that in, where you could kind of keep the same concept of you're in that theater and something happens, but like more of if you've seen like I guess how what is the Haunted Mansion one in Paris? Is that the one where the monkey they have some idol and it's, I don't know.
That's in Hong Kong.
Is that Hong Kong? Kind of like that one where some kind of, because that ties into sea too, like that's some kind of something they found has a curse or something, that type of thing. But I think it's an opportunity to get that sea thing off planet instead of everything dealing with now, and maybe some even could go to future, like just to tie that whole world. Now that they're making this this series on Disney Plus too, so something like that.
Cool. Sarah, do you want to give your retheme? Either one of you.
Yeah, I'll go. So I kind of tried to keep it in line with an experience more than an attraction per se, like as a ride or anything. So I was kind of looking along the lines of an escape room. So you'd use a virtual queue, you'd sign up for an escape room. It would be a smaller amount of time, say half an hour. Traditional escape rooms are about an hour. We can keep it with an outer space theme. It doesn't necessarily have to tie into an IP, but I was thinking Magic Kingdom is all about the Disney princesses. We have little boys. There's not a whole ton of stuff for them there. So a few years ago, they had Miles from Tomorrowland on their Disney Junior channel. My boys loved it. They thought he was like the coolest. And there's a Robo Ostrich for those people out there who have watched the show. And they even painted the rocks outside of the entrance to Tomorrowland that same like galactic blue icy color. And so even Johnny and I had kind of talked about it, like, oh, I really hope they put something in there. And Miles to Tomorrowland, that'd be perfect because it's Tomorrowland, and that's the whole, the whole premise of it all. So I was thinking it would be more like hosted by the Callisto family, which is the family who are starring in that cartoon series. It ties in with the Tomorrowland Transit Authority, which is already there. They talk about people movers. You have the aliens of like I think the Admirals, Watson and Crick. It's like a two-headed guy. They could be on the monitor and just like in a little pre-show thing say, hey, we're really stuck. You need to help us with this mission. And then just have like voices of the characters come through and say for clues or hints or directions, things like that as you move through. So it wouldn't take as long as a regular one. It wouldn't necessarily tie into a specific movie or show except for those voices. And if you haven't ever watched the show, then it's just another character. And so I was thinking at the end, because it is kind of a big room, they had like the queue area, they have the pre-show, and then the theater, and then a little space afterwards as you walk out that they could kind of do like meet and greets, or like in that pre-show area while you're waiting for your turn inside, you could have like brain teasers and puzzles and interactive screens to kind of get you ready to go into the escape room.
That's a good idea. Original too, I like that. You could probably like section the thing off and probably have 3 or 4 in there to like rotate groups in and out, even if they were a half hour.
Right, and as one group moves through to the next room, it's set up again, and then the next group. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Sarah, did you have one? Did you have a re-theme for this?
I kind of did, but not like didn't really come up with anything that good. The first thing that came to mind was like outer space, and I thought of like Captain Marvel. Like the pre-show, you could like talk about how she was the pilot of the plane and everything like that, and then you see her in the tube at the plane crash, and it kind of just like tells like the story a little bit like of how she got her powers and like her discovering her powers and stuff like that when you're in that auditorium room and she's just like in the tube and stuff like that. You can still do that 4D, 3D vibe that they had going on with the other 2 rides there too.
A little bit of Marvel and the Magic Kingdom never hurt anybody. Last but not least, Mr. Lanzi.
So I never got to experience the Alien version of the ride. I only got the Stitch ride. However, I went on the ride with someone who had experienced the Alien and was kind of telling me, what was the same, what was different, what was just kind of repainted. And I agree with, what was said. I think John used the word lazy. And that's kind of what strikes me, is that it was pretty lazy. I mean, you got $1 billion company, a few extra, kind of build it up for Lilo, Stitch, excuse me, coming from the Alien ride. So, but for me, it's really, you do it once and you're done. I think I've been on it twice, and the second time was, I think it was raining. I don't want to get out of the rain, and that's where I was. So, and the thing is, when you have a ride like that people are not clamoring to get on, it just filters to the other rides. It does, rather than spreading everyone out, now they're going to everyone's going to the same 4 or 5 rides or so, and so that's why the wait times are 90 minutes. Well, if you had a few more really good rides people want to go to, be more I'd rather deal with an hour than 90 minutes of a wait time. As far as refurb, I came up with 2 ideas. The first idea was, if they're going to go with a movie, you can go WALL-E. Because WALL-E's set in the future. It's one of the few that is. I think it's a very underrated movie. I really do enjoy WALL-E. It deals with outer space, kind of the futuristic of what happens if you don't take care of the environment, and making sure, recycling and everything like that. So I think there's a futuristic view with that. And if you kind of make it more 4D, you can go into outer space, right? You can go on, the ship that they were in. Marketing works well because you can sell the shake containers, right? So you have a good marketing backbone to the movie. The other idea I had was, so I was watching Disney Plus, and Cosmos is on Disney Plus. And I know we've talked about the outer space a few times. It is Tomorrowland, and right now on Facebook there's that new rover on Mars that, like, for the first time we're getting 3D, excuse me, we're getting like 4K, high def or 4K, whatever it is, pictures of Mars. And I think you can kind of put that into the ride, where it's not themed by a movie, but it's more of a learning ride, but it's with the new photos from Mars, the new photos from outer space. You can make it 3D or 4D to really make an immersion. And I think that fits very well with Tomorrowland. And I think and looking ahead, what is the next generation of rides? I think it's rides that can continually adapt without needing to go down for weeks on end. So as more photos come from Mars, newer photos come from whatever planet we're orbiting, you just start filtering them in and replacing them with brand new things. And it's a continually evolving ride. And I think that kind of fits into the idea of Tomorrowland. So if you're going to go a movie, go Wall-E, right? And if you're going to go to something completely different, I think you go to basically Disney's, the Cosmos type of a thing, different planets, the rovers, almost have like a point of view from the rover maybe, as you see the different planets.
Okay, so let's see what the luck of the spin gives us this week. Hopefully something a little bit. Actually, I hope it's something really tough. I really want something tough. Big Thunder Mountain or Flight of Passage?
Oh boy. Wow.
Oh, is this tough for you?
I
didn't think this was tough for you.
Well, it wouldn't be as tough if we didn't get rid of a roller coaster last week, so kind of want to still have a roller coaster, but yeah, I think you have to go with Flight of Passage. It's just, I don't know, it's just something. That first time riding it, you just, no other ride really besides Rise I've ever been on is you're literally speechless when you get off of it. You don't even know what to say, or you don't even know what to think, just because it's so different and out of the box. And then we had never, well, at least we had never seen Pandora Avatar before that first time we went out. Like, we had watched it a week or two before we went. Yeah. So it was like super in our minds. So that helped with it too.
The movie was already 3 years old though.
Yeah, but I'm saying we had never seen it. So it was very real in our minds. So yeah, you have to go with Flight of Passage, I think. Well, I was good. The only way I think it would go possibly other ways if you used Big Thunder from Disneyland Paris, just because that Big Thunder is just really cool looking. How you kind of go underwater and it's on its own little island by itself. So, but I'll stick with Flight of Passage. All
right, I'm gonna jump in just because I'm gonna have, I think, an unpopular opinion. I want to keep the vote tight. I'm gonna get rid of Pandora. It's awesome, but I don't know. Avatar to me is I just don't care about it. And the movie, I like the movie Avatar, but until I see a couple more and it actually builds a franchise and makes me care about it. I know it's a cool ride. I mean, obviously, but it's a screen-based ride, and I'm very, I don't know. I just don't like to see too many of them in there. And it's just tough for me to take a Tony Baxter original and toss it aside for there he is, or she, for a screen-based ride. I just can't do it. I got a feeling my opinion is really not going to matter here, but yeah, I'm throwing a vote to Big Thunder Mountain. Steven?
This one's tough because I love coasters. I love roller coasters. And, Big Thunder Mountain, it's a decent one. But on the other hand, you have, even though the movie was fine, I watched it once and I don't really need to see it again. I mean, Flight of Passage was the absolute best technological ride I've been on. I mean, just for 4D, I mean, the fact that when you're sitting on it, it feels like it's breathing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just, I was floored. And so right now in my head, the equation is, well, now that you have Star Wars rides that are very kind of similar, can you get rid of Flight of Passage? And in Magic Kingdom, you do have the Mine Train, which is somewhat similar, and this one's tough. Darn. You know what? I'm going to. We lost a classic last week, so I think I'm going to choose the classic this week in Thunder Mountain, just because you could always build another technological ride pretty easily. I think, at least. I mean, you could always just build another one. Coasters just seem to be a little bit more tougher to come by because they just take up that much more room. And now that you have some of the Star Wars rides being very similar with the technology, I think I'm going to go with the classic Thunder Mountain.
I want to add to that. I wish I would have said it. I meant to say when I was talking earlier. The other thing, and you kind of touched upon it, you can always build another technologically advanced ride. But how many more years before Pandora doesn't have a wow factor anymore? Whereas Thunder Mountain still has the same effect on people today that it had back in, I don't know, whatever it was, in the 70s or whenever it opened.
And just one more layer to that is, yes, it was absolutely mind-blowing and amazing, just the 4D effect. They splash water at you when you're diving down and they're blowing wind in your face. That being said, you can go on a roller coaster and have actual real wind blow in your face. So it is also a real scenario versus one that's technologically creative. Don't get me wrong, amazingly creative. Like I said, I came off that ride like, wow, that was the absolute best technological ride I've ever been on. And I truly feel that's going to be the norm. It's already becoming the norm, really.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you go to Universal, they got the Jimmy Fallon ride. That's not as good, but in that same mold. So, but you can always build another one. I mean, you could build one where there's a Stitch ride. I think coasters, though, again, I think they're harder to come by, and I enjoy it. I enjoy roller coasters.
And the other thing with Big Thunder is like really, as far as what Disney tries to achieve in their coasters, really the perfect balance, right? For like a family coaster. It's not too much, it's not too little. It's big. It's themed out well. I don't know. I'm not trying to sell it to the two Sarahs here. I'm just saying it's a classic. Sarah Patterson.
I will have to go with get rid of Big Thunder Mountain. The Flight of Passage, I think it fits so good it's like so different from what Animal Kingdom has there. So it's like a good little space. You have, I was thinking Big Thunder Mountain at first, but then Lacey said it's kind of like the Seven Dwarfs, so you have that roller coaster too. So I was like, all right, there's still that one. Then there's Mount Everest. So you have those two still there that we could pick. But Flight of Passage, there's something about it, the smells that it gives off. When you sit on the bike and they just like lock you into place and they come up behind your legs. And then just like the way you would actually feel like you're in the movie riding. What are they called? Is that what they're called?
Banshees.
That you're riding it. Yeah, that.
Or an Ecron, the proper way.
Yeah, the Ecron.
Well, Johnny's getting scientific over here.
Hey,
It just feels like you're in the movie, like with them riding it. And I could ride that ride so many times. The only thing that is really boring, like we said before, is the little intro to it when it's like you're scanning and stuff like that.
All right. And here comes the all-important tie-breaking vote from Miss Sarah Castano.
Doesn't matter what I say, half of you will hate me. I'm torn. You know how I feel about adding in creative, new, and not connected rides, and it is a classic. Adding the whole world of Pandora completely was like a mini makeover for Animal Kingdom. It bumped up their attendance and made something cool about it. You kind of disregarded Dinoland a little bit more because now there was a new area to go into. You kind of have this older coaster in Magic Kingdom up against one of the newer state-of-the-art in a different park. And so it's like I feel bad we're chopping two of those cool rides out of Magic Kingdom, but at the same time, if we're building the best of the best and taking the better option, I'm gonna go with Flight of Passage. The attention to detail, like Steven said, like when you're riding it and you feel like the lungs expanding, and it's such a subtle thing that I never would have thought to include. The stylized seat that you're in is very different. They really kind of thought outside the box on that one. Just the sheer number of people who are able to ride, and I know how you feel about screens, but it kind of reminded me of Soarin' a little bit. So the first time we were able to ride it, I just was there for the experience. We were able to get 2 fast passes in the same trip. So the first one, I was all about the experience, and I wanted to ride it and just be present in the moment and enjoy it. And it was mind blowing. I've never experienced anything like that. Like we had said before, I had recently watched it, so it was all fresh in my mind, and it was so cool. And like, I really felt like I was there. I was so immersed in it all. And I was like leading down, I was like, Sivako, or whatever it was that they were shouting. I was like pumped. I was like, this is it. This is my favorite ride in the whole world now. But then the second time around, like Johnny had kind of pointed out, like, did you see how many rows of people? Did you see how many floors? And then I was like, the second time I kind of like looked around and I could see the other people. And that as long of a line as it was, there were so many people who were able to ride it at once. And then there were like different screens and different, it was just, it seems like it's such a breath of fresh air to the park. And that comparison to having Mine Train, it's a cooler, upgraded version of Big Thunder Mountain. It's still cool. It's still there. It's still hip. So I'm sorry. Flight of Passage is where it's at for me. Sorry.
All right. No, that's fine. I guess. No, obviously it's fine. But we have no mountains in our park so far, just so we can all be clear on that. We have no mountains. We're 0 for 2. I got a feeling Splash will survive when the time comes, but we'll see. We'll see. And I think we had the best matchup, by the way, for show last week. I'm not sure we'll ever get as close of a matchup for any 2 shows as we did for that one. Little Mermaid, bleh.
This is blurry.
Tell me how I really feel before it even starts, right?
Frozen.
And the Frozen sing-along. Who wants to jump in on this one? Sarah, come on. Oh, it's Steven. All right, go ahead.
For me, it's easy. Frozen wins. Look, I love The Little Mermaid. I get it. But talk about it needs a massive upgrade. And it just does not compete with Frozen. I mean, number one, the comedy is super corny. But you know what? The actors that I've seen do it, I mean, they really perform it as if it's the first time. No one's really being lazy about it. And especially if you go to Christmas time and they have the extra special ending with Frozen, it's super cool with more Snope and whatnot. The sing-along's great. So for me, Frozen, very easy, wins hands down.
Yep, I'm not even gonna take up time on this segment. I'm gonna go everything Steven just said. 100% here. Sarah Patterson.
I want to do the same exact thing. I was single all the way.
Why is Little Mermaid so terrible?
Always. You could just hear like the tune of it, and you're just automatically gonna sing a Frozen Disney song.
Not to mention, the Little Mermaid now has a ride-through attraction that literally tells the story. So, but anyway, just to make this official, even though it is official because it's already got 3 votes. Sarah, Skook,
I'm gonna go with Frozen.
Yeah.
So I've never actually sat through the Frozen sing-along. The idea alone, I'm sold. Plus, as much as I love Ariel and Little Mermaid is such a favorite of mine. Oh my God, can we update that, please? Or I don't even remember the last time I went and saw that show. It's literally just, oh look, there's a Little Mermaid stuff. Okay, let's go. On to Jack Jack's Yum Yum cookies.
Well, it's like I said, like you said, you make a good point. Like update it, and they did. They updated it in the Magic Kingdom
In a different park.
with a ride. They're like, why is
Yeah.
that? Why is it still
Now-
there?
Let's stitch that out and put another IP in there because this is the park where the IPs belong.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I say, it's probably a pretty good. I mean, I know it is a pretty good theater in there. So yeah, get something else in there.
As much as I love Little Mermaid and she's a classic and she's awesome, Frozen, while still an older movie, is still putting out blockbuster sequels, and Little Mermaid's just not relevant in the minds of little kids who want to dress up as princesses. And like, how many little kids who play with Ariel Barbie dolls actually have watched Little Mermaid? Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't think this would be anything. I don't even know, Stephen. Would you have been able to keep this over the Tiki Room?
I'll choose the Mickey Mouse cream bar stand over Tiki.
Okay, so I guess if the Tiki Room were up on the chopping block, maybe Stephen would have kept this.
I feel bad because it's, you know what, like I do like the music of that ride. I really do. I love the theme of it. Honestly, I do. It's just when you compare it to every other ride, it shows its age, within the first 2 seconds of the ride.
Yeah.
Now I wouldn't mind a Tiki Room themed bar, and you can play some of the music. Like, you can kind of make it a little bit more interactive, almost like what they try to do with the dinosaur restaurant. I forget what it's called.
T-Rex.
Yeah. And they could do something like that. That would be fun to me. It's just, but just to hear the plastic, the clicking.
That is funny.
We can do better. We have the technology. You don't have to resort to plastic.
Walt Disney's original idea was for it to be a restaurant. And I bet you if you just spruce the animatronics up a tad, nothing crazy, even keep a couple of the old ones for the cheesiness factor, and just wipe out the seating and make that a bar, it would just be more fun to visit. Or even if it was just a bar / Dole Whip stand or something inside, and the birds just sang periodically throughout the day.
I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, they really could just make it, get rid of the walls, maybe like open it up a little bit, have it be like a tiki bar, or just, like you said, with ice cream bars and things like that. And I think it would just be a lot more fun.
Agreed. All right, Johnny. So it's 4-0 already, but I'm assuming you also hate Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add on it, or do you just
just that they could the whole voyage of the Little Mermaid, journey of the Little Mermaid, they couldn't even think of a decent title for it. It's just overall annoying.
Yeah.
And I like lasers and stuff, but the lasers in that thing, it's just stupid. Not much more to say.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. All right. Before we wrap up, what's becoming my most favorite part of doing this now, kind of like one little non-Disney thing at the end of each show. Last week we went nuts with the John McClane animatronic, which listening to the show again was cracking me up. So I threw in the notes for the show this week what we would do with we could pick an Arnold Schwarzenegger. It could be him in general, or it could be a specific character if you'd like. Obviously, whatever you want to do. But we're going to stick it in the Magic Kingdom. Doesn't matter where it is. It can do whatever. You can sell balloons, or he could be in Pirates of the Caribbean. Whatever it is you want to do with them. What would you do with them? I'll start because I love this topic. I would, if you're familiar with Predator, I would make him Dutch, and he would be standing at the gate, and they would use the magic band technology that they use in lots of the rides to recognize your name, and he would have his hand extended out, and as you walked by to enter the park, he would say your name, and he would use the line, Dylan, you son of a, but he would be like, Steven would walk in and be like, Steven, you son of a, so on and so forth. And I think that would be like the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Besides Die Hard, it's a Tower of Terror, of course.
So mine was kind of last minute, and I forgot how much I love the movie End of Days. And he plays this character, Jericho. Just throwing it on. He would fit perfectly in a villain's After Hours.
Yeah. We could take a Satan themed movie and put it in Disney World.
You said adult, whatever. If
No,
yours is swearing,
I love it.
I would say you gotta have. It has to be sort of like a meet and greet, but it would not like an individual meet and greet, maybe like a group of people, but it would be Detective John Kimball just asking kids questions.
Oh, it'd be like
Daddy, what does he do? All that
oh my
kind
gosh,
of stuff.
look at this guy. That's a wicked good idea.
Not
It could be like the Crush thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Turtle Talk, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of something like that.
This guy.
Just asking kids all kinds of stuff.
That would actually be good. I think people would actually like that. As long as you have like an actor like responding in real time and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sick. Steve.
For Arnold, tell you what, I would say his character from the movie Twins, because then you also get Danny DeVito.
Okay.
That's what you call a twofer.
Yeah. All right.
And they're just always move in unison, right? I think maybe the scene where he picks up a car, or he drives the car on the two tires, right? And then Danny DeVito's there going, Julia, let me tell you something about America. Nobody likes a smart aleck, and that's as best as I got.
I don't hate it. I don't think there's anything to hate on any of this. Sarah.
Terminator.
Oh, okay.
So the only thing that I could come up with was like him standing at the leaving gate and just saying like I'll be back or something like that.
Oh, hasta la vista, baby.
That's like the only thing I've ever seen.
That's actually not a bad idea either.
You could do it at the Skyliner as you're leaving Epcot World Showcase. Hasta la vista, baby. And just wave to people on the Skyliner and going back.
Have them in like the gyms at the resorts too, like just giving you pointers from like pumping iron days, motivating you.
I could use that ride. I could use that track. Not gonna lie.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that would be.
There's so many good movies, like stupid action movies with him.
I think.
You could have them
I'll just say really
parties.
quick.
I was just thinking of that one, yeah.
Get a Turbo Man at Christmas parties, yeah.
I was gonna say
down the float with Santa.
If they could get, so you know how you have the stormtroopers walking around and they have the pre-recorded statements. I think if they could get something like a Terminator version of that, and like walk around and just like talk smack to everybody, from as Arnold Schwarzenegger with pre-recorded statements, I think that'd be pretty good too.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. I mean, if we honestly really thought about it, we could probably give him his own ride and everything because he's got so many cool. But theoretically, he actually has been in a theme park because they did have an actor playing him in the Terminator 3D show over at Universal. So it actually has been done. I don't know if anyone's ever saw that. But in its time, that was really a really cool show. But it's kind of, it's gone now. But it got outdated quick. But it was good. All right, join us next week as we put Sylvester Stallone in Animal Kingdom. No, seriously, we're going to put Sylvester Stallone in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
So, anyway, we're out of here. Say it one more time. Like, subscribe, share. We have, that's what I wanted to say before I left. Apparently, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how any of this stuff works. I don't think any of us do. But I'm watching the Podbean stuff I was telling you guys about, like the stats and stuff. We just and I say slowly, I mean slowly, but it's growing in Kansas, specifically in Kansas. Now it makes me wonder: did a couple people listen and like it, and then like actually pass it around, or is one person like it and just like downloading our back catalog? I don't know, but it has to be something because it was like 1, then 5, then 10, then 20, and it's like something's happening there. So
We're a hoot out there.
Not in Kansas anymore, I guess. But yeah, I think it is. I think I think it is funny though. Like it's a random.
It was that
thing.
Wizard of Oz Adventureland re-theme.
Yeah, maybe. But like Mass has always had decent numbers because I'm sure a bunch of us have friends and stuff like that. And then like Rhode Island, of course. And then I can see like Florida even and a couple stuff out of the country. I don't know what the deal with that is, but Kansas is just completely, absolutely random to me. But I'm keeping an eye on it, and every single time I've checked, which is basically once a day, it's gone up a little bit more. So
The home of Superman.
what is it?
The home of Superman.
Oh yeah. All right. Once again, like and subscribe. Hello in Kansas. If you're listening, we know you're listening. Thank you. And we'll see you next week.